What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a hoot and a holler, a classic video. This is going to be a mini story. I know I mentioned in my Xanax video I uploaded a couple weeks ago that I'll be doing some more of these, and I figured this would also be a good one to lob on up here. So, hope you guys do enjoy this video. Drop a like if you do. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. So, I don't know what the hell I'm going to title this one yet, so I don't have a title to say here like I normally do. But let me tell you, this was some shit fucking weed, alright? So, I was hanging out with this girl who we're gonna call Michelle. Now, Michelle and I, at this point, we were kind of talking. We weren't like a thing, and we never became a thing. But we were kind of talking a little bit, testing the waters out. I'd only met her like once or twice before, but we'd known each other for maybe like a few months at this point. And this was like one of our first times actually linking up and chilling together, right? And this was way back in, I want to say it was like, God, it might have even been like sophomore year of high school now that I look back on it. It's been fucking ages. But either way, Michelle and I were not too tight at this point, and I remember it was a fine evening, and we were chilling in my car. We had just smoked a blunt, and it was the last of our weed. Neither of us had enough weed left to make up a blunt, but we pooled it together and scraped together this little, like, super thin fucking pussy blunt, So we're like, fuck, we need to smoke some more, Like, this isn't gonna cut it. This isn't gonna fly. We need to smoke some more weed immediately. So I hit up my plug, and I've been going to the same plug since I very first started smoking weed. I've had the same guy pretty much all throughout my life. To this day, I still buy my bags off the same guy. Because typically when I re-up in larger quantities to last me longer, So I want someone who I can really trust and know that my shit's going to be quality. Because, like, this is the rest of my weed for the next, 2 weeks, I usually re-up once every couple weeks, just in a larger amount. But at this particular point, I was hitting his line, and he wasn't answering, and money wasn't the problem, Her and I, we had enough to get through the night, I had maybe $20 on me, she had 20 on her. We were trying to throw down, grab an eighth, right? So, we're trying to find a plug. My plug isn't picking up. I'm like, shit, I hit up my guy, Chris's brother. He's not picking up. We might be struck. She's like, oh, I know a guy. Now, you have to be very careful when you're with other people and you're in like an emergency scenario and they're like, oh, I know a guy. Because in my experience, I don't know what causes this phenomenon, but 95% of the time when your plugs aren't available, whatever the other plug is that you're going to that like one of your friends has is always going to be mids, like at best. And in this scenario, I honest to God wish I received mids. I would have thanked Jesus himself if I could have gotten some mid on this particular day, but it did not play out that way. So she's like, oh, yeah, I got a guy. I'm like, oh, bet, let me know what's up. So she hits him up. We wait around a couple minutes. He replies eventually. He's like, oh, yeah, can you come to me? Let me know when you're able to slide or whatever. I got you on that. She's like, oh, bet, this guy's normally got some gas, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's good to hear, cool. And I'm also a little skeptical of that because for some reason, everybody thinks their plug has murder, right? Like, nobody's realistic about their weed. Everyone, like, the man, like, I don't know what it is, but there's just some weird thing in weed smokers' brains, especially this chick in particular, where, like, everyone just thinks their plug is like El Chapo. Like, everyone just thinks their plug has better weed than everyone else's, Like, realistically, I'm not trying to pull my cock out here, but I know that my plug has better weed than, like, 95% of the people that I know, right? And therefore, when people start telling me, oh, my plug's got some gas, bro. It's some good weed. You're going to love it. I know for a fact that I'm probably not going to, More than likely, it's not going to live up to the hype. So I wasn't trying to get my hopes up too high, but I was just expecting some mid. So we pull up on this guy, right? He's at his crib, and she's like, all right, I'll run in and grab it real quick. She goes into his house, comes back out like 5 minutes later with a cup, right? A solo cup. This fucking guy did not. He had such a tiny scale that he had to solo cup an eighth. That's where you fucked up first off. Second off, how do you plug with no bags? Like, how do you just hand someone the solo cup and just go like, here you go, dude. Enjoy. Like what kind of plug is that? So as soon as I saw her come running out of this house with a solo cup full of fucking shit in her hand, I was like, oh, this is gonna be something. Like, this is gonna be some fucking swag right here. I could already tell. She comes running out of the house, hops back in my car. She's like, all right, we're good. She's like, I watched him scale it. And I wasn't concerned about the weight. I don't know why she mentioned that. Like, what's he going to do? Short us like a 10 sack? Like, I don't fucking care. So I'm like, all right, whatever, let's go. So I don't look at the weed right away, you know? I don't really give a fuck. I'm just trying to find a spot for us to go roll up and smoke. So we stay in this guy's neighborhood and we cruise around for a little bit. And we end up parking maybe like 3 or 4 blocks away from this guy's house. In between these two houses, it was like on a corner, you know, where like the house is facing the other street. So like there's no house looking directly at you. Like if you guys have to smoke in your car often, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. But either way, so, you know, we finally pull up to this spot. I pull out my wraps, you know, the wraps that I did have left. If I recall correctly, I only had like a pack or 2 on me. And I pass them to her. Typically, I'm going to be honest, I'm really fucking lazy and I don't like rolling unless I'm facing. Like, if I'm not facing my blunt, I'm not rolling the blunt. You know, that's how it goes. Especially if, like, some of my weed's in there. I just don't feel like doing it. I'm a lazy prick. So either way, I pass her the blunt, and she pours the weed out of the cup onto my driver's manual, right? My owner's manual in my car. And I look at this weed, and it quite literally, okay, it actually, honest to God, looked like, all right, a failed moon rock experiment. Like, it looked like there was maybe like remnants of normal weed on here at one point, and they just like dipped them in liquid wax and like tried to make moon rocks but failed. This shit was like, it wasn't green, okay? First and foremost, it wasn't green. It looked more like dirt than it did weed. And there was nugs, like, don't get me wrong, there was nugs here. It wasn't shake, right? But these nugs were so tiny. It was like little pieces of rabbit shit. Like, it was like pellets of rabbit shit. And I had to like do a double take on this shit. I was like, what the fuck? And she's telling me like, oh yeah, he said it's some indica. I'm like, that's not shit. That's not even indica. That's not sativa. That's not nothing. That's rabbit shit. And that's what I thought. I didn't actually say it to her because I was trying to be nice. We didn't know each other like that yet. We were still just kind of getting to that point. So I was just like, oh yeah, you know, sounds good. And I didn't want to comment on it because she was really hyping up this weed, and I could tell by her body language that she seemed a little disappointed too. Like, I was like, I don't want to make her feel worse than she probably already does, you know? Like, she, judging by the look on her face, like, she's really trying to cover up the fact that this is dookie, but like, I know this is dookie, right? So either way, she finishes rolling up this blunt. We chat a little bit. We spark up this blunt. Now, I don't know what it was with this weed, but mids have a classic taste in my opinion, right? I think mids always taste like pine trees. You know, 95% of the time, mids taste like pine. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know if everyone who grows mids sprays Pine Sol on it before they harvest. I don't know what the plot is there. But for some reason, to me at least, like 90% of the mid I've smoked in my life, and Reggie, just tastes like pine, you know? And that's exactly what this tasted like. I inhaled and I turned into an evergreen for like 5 minutes. Like, I literally thought that I was a pine tree. Like, I was like the strongest, most like, it was almost like a menthol-y pine, you know? Like, there was like pesticides on this kush, you know? Like, just some fucked shit. And it like, my throat felt like I just hit a menthol cigarette. Like, I just got that like piney like coolness in my throat. And I've never in my life felt that with weed. And I was taken aback. I took one hit and I was like, what the fuck is this? And like, at that point, I actually didn't say that in my head. I literally said to her, what the fuck is this? And she starts laughing, and she's like, yeah, I know. And at this point, I couldn't hold it anymore. Like, looking at it, I was like, all right, it looks kind of mid. Whatever, I'm not going to make her feel bad. But after hitting this blunt and tasting this weed, I couldn't try to be nice anymore. I was just straight up like, what the fuck is this weed, you know? And she laughs a little bit. She's like, yeah, I know, it's kind of fucked. And I was like, I thought you said dude had some gas. And she's like, yeah, I thought he normally did. Like, I was just like, all right, you know, jigs up, never using Shorty's plug again. But nevertheless, I figured like, okay, I guess I'll give it, you know, maybe a couple more hits. Maybe I got a hit of the paper, you know? So I passed the blunt back to her after one hit. Literally one hit. Pass it back to her. She smacks it a few times. I could tell by her facial expression she's not having a good time. Passes it back to me. I smack it a few more times, and I'm literally done with it. I hit this blunt maybe 4 times in total, passed it back to her, and I was like, that's all you. Like, that's literally on you. And at this point, I damn near didn't take the rest of that eighth home. Like, I did because at this point, I was a sophomore, and I was broke, and I, like, needed weed. But at the same time, like, if it was today, I would have literally flushed this weed down the toilet. But either way, so, we finish smoking this blunt, or she finishes smoking this blunt, excuse me. And after that, we don't really know what to do, We decide maybe we'll go grab some food. I remember we pulled up on Culver's and we got them ice creams. They got fire soft serve ice cream, I'm telling you. This entire little, like, date night that we had, if you could call it that, just took place in my car. We never actually sat down anywhere. And after we have Culver's, maybe 20 minutes after, we're still chilling in the Culver's parking lot, eating ice cream, just talking. And she tells me her head hurts, right? And I'm talking like hurts, She's like, my head really fucking hurts. She's like, do you have any fucking Motrin? And I was like looking around. I was like, oh shit. She's like, do you have any Tylenol or whatever she asked for? She asked for something like that. And I'm like looking in my glove box, knowing fully well I don't have any, just pretending I might. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't have any. And I was thinking like, all right, tonight's gone kind of badly. We smoked some mid and Shorty's head hurts. Like, I kind of just want to go home. So I was hoping she'd ask me to take her home, right? But she didn't. She was like, oh, can we stop at Walgreens real quick? I need to grab something for my head. So we pull up on Walgreens, go inside. She grabs a little, like, travel thing of Tylenol or whatever, some little tiny bottle. Buys that. And her head, she told me her head was, like, throbbing. Like, she was like sitting in my car damn near crying. Like I could see it on her face as I was driving to this Walgreens. I was like looking over to like make sure she's okay. And I'm just like, is she like having a child? Like what is going on here? Am I responsible? Am I going to jail? Or what the fuck's going on here? And eventually she got the Tylenol in her, calmed down a little bit. And after the Tylenol, all we did was she wanted to smoke more for some reason. She was like a real animal. Like she was like, oh, you want to smoke another blunt? And I looked at her with the most like bewildered look on my face. I was like, what the fuck did you just suggest to me? Like, you honestly want to put another blunt full of that like pine leaf, those like evergreen clippings up to your mouth? Like, excuse me? And I was like, nah, dude, I'm straight on that. That's all you, but I probably got to go. At this point, I just wanted to go home. So I was like, yeah, I probably got to go, I could take you home if you need. And she's like, yeah, that's cool. So I took her home, dapped her up, didn't do the hug or anything, It was like, this was like probably our first or second time hanging out. So we weren't even at the hug stage yet. It was at like at the dap her up kind of stage. And she hops out the car, goes inside. I go home. I don't remember what I did with the rest of that weed, but knowing that how I was when I was a sophomore, I probably smoked the rest of that shit, but I don't really remember in particular. But yeah, this is probably some of the most swag shit I've ever gotten. This is definitely top 3 in the Reggie leaderboards. So either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a like if you did. This did not turn out as a mini story whatsoever. We're 13 and a half minutes in, so I lied about the mini story. Get fucking clickbaited, I guess. But either way, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.